So example, two balls are thrown towards each other. Ball A at 16 meters per second upward from the ground. Ball B at 9 meters per second downward from the roof, 30 meters high 1 second later. Letter A, where and when do they meet? Letter B, what are their velocities on impact? Okay, so for example, this is the ground again, and the height of the building is 30 meters. Say this is 30 meters high building, and initially there is a ball from the ground. Let's call this as ball A, and it is being thrown upward with a velocity, initial velocity at point A is equal to 16 meter per second, and it was thrown up first. So say for example, this is the position after such time. This is the position of the ball A, and with that, at certain time, 1 second by the way, so this is the time being traveled by the ball A, and then after 1 second during this travel padondiha, the second ball from this height is being also thrown. Let's call this as ball B. It's being thrown with a velocity initial that's equal to 9 meter per second, and it reaches here. So that is our point, our ball B. So this is the point of their meeting. So if this ball A travels a certain time of t, then somehow this ball B travels a time 1 second later. So that would be time minus 1. No? If you're going to use that as your base solution. So you can also make a a um, a consideration that the time also, if you're gonna use this function of travel as the time, then somehow the time traveled by the ball A would be time plus 1. No? Para in the question, where and when do they meet, then the time traveled by A is the time where they meet. No? So pwede ta mo gamit ana. So it's either a set of t and t minus 1 if we're going to do the reference of travel of time of A, or we can do a set that the travel distance or travel time by B as time t and the travel time by A is time plus 1. So it all really depends on your understanding. But in my case, I'd like to use the time t as the distance or the time traveled by time A in such a way that the time consumed by ball B is a 1 second less. No, okay, 1 second man siya throw downward after ball A. No? So, in this case, since ako naman yung represent ang time for A as t, then I could also make an arrangement about their distances. So for example, I'm gonna have this as the travel distance by ball B, or ball A rather, as travel distance x, and this is the travel distance by ball B. So this is a fraction of 30 and x, so that's 30 minus x, like that. So we're gonna consider ball B, or ball A rather, ball A. So the initial velocity of ball A is 16 meter per second, and it is thrown upward. Therefore, the g is negative 9.81 because it goes against the gravitational attraction. So relating to time and distance, then we may use s equal to the initial velocity times time minus 1/2 of the acceleration times the time square. So in this case, the distance is x. So that's x equal to the initial velocity, which is 16, and the time is time t, no? Because we're referring to ball A. Then minus the 1/2 of the acceleration, which is 9.81. We're using minus sign because ball A is thrown upward. It go against the gravity. And then you multiply that with the time square. Since the time is the question, now when do they meet? So that's the equation number 1. So let's talk about ball B. Okay, so ball B would be it has initial velocity of 9 meter per second, and it is moving downward. Therefore, the g that we will be using is a positive 9.81 meter per square second. So we're gonna still use the same formula, s equal to v initial times time, and then plus now, because we're talking about ball B, 1/2 of the acceleration times the time square. So here, the s distance is now 30 minus x, because we're talking about ball B. Then the initial velocity is 9, and the time is no longer t, but rather t minus 1. So that's t minus 1. And then plus the 1/2 of the acceleration, which is 9.81. You multiply that with the time minus 1 square. So we're going to simplify this, and we're going to have positive x. We're going to transpose this to the other side. It would still become positive. Okay, matangtang man nato ang negative for that. So that's 30, and instead of writing positive 9, then it must be negative, no? Tungod sa negative ang atong x initially. So 9 times time minus 1, then minus the 4.905, by the way, that's 9.81 divided by 2. And this one, t minus 1. So completing square, this is t squared minus 2t plus the square of 1. So this is x equal to 30 minus 9 times time plus 9 minus 4.905. Distribute that, it's going to become time squared, and then distribute again. This will become positive 9.81 times time, and you distribute for the last term, that would be negative 4.905. And then we're gonna collect like terms, constant and with coefficient. Okay, so starting with the negative 4.905, just make this one as arranged as possible. And then we're going to collect this and this one. The remainder, or the remaining, is positive 0.81 time. And then this one, this, and that. So ito lang i-compute. So that would be 30 minus, 30 plus 9, then minus 4.905. So that would be positive 34.095. We're gonna call this as equation number 2. So in this case, we're going to equate. So we're going to equate equation 1 and equation number 2. So equation 1 is this one. So this is our equation number 1, or I can rewrite this as 16 time minus 4.905, the time square, and that's equal to the equation number 2, which is this one. So just copy that and here. Okay, so we can cancel this out because they're of the same sign and the same coefficient and variable. And we have 16 time, or 16t, equal to 0.81 times time plus 34.095. or that would be 16 minus 0.81, which is 15.19 time, and that's equal to 34.905 or 0.95. So the time being asked, or where, or when rather, 34.095 divided by 15.19, that is 2.245. And this is not, this is in seconds. Okay, so that would be the time. And then the next question is where. So we're gonna solve for x. So what is the value of our x? So all we have to do is use this formula. This one, because this is x. So x is here. So that would be x equal to 16 time, by the way, minus 4.905 t squared. Okay, so I'll just make a simplified equation. Then x is equal to 16 times 2.245, and then minus 4.905, and then you multiply that with 2.245, and you square that. X is equal to, that's 16 times 2.245 minus 4.905 times 2.245 square. So the answer is 11.199 meters. That is the point where the two balls meet, ball A and B. So what are their velocities on impact? So we're gonna find the final velocity of B and the final velocity of A. So we're gonna use these distances, or we can use the time, that one. Okay, so using time, we're gonna have final velocity equal to the initial velocity plus minus acceleration times time. So for A, ball A, it's moving upward. So final velocity of A is equal to initial velocity of A. Then since it's moving upward, since this is ball A, then we're going to use minus acceleration times the time. So this is final velocity of A equal to 16 minus 2 point, no, that's 9.81 times 2.245. Then we now have the final velocity of impact of A. That is 16 minus 9.81 times 2.245. So that is 6.023. It's negative. So meters per second. So it's negative because na-influence siya sa impact sa B. Since the ball is moving up, then it made a negative value, then therefore the velocity is 6.023 meter per second, and it is somehow influenced by B, and it's being moved down, no? After sa impact, I mean during impact, ang iyang velocity tungod sa iyang impulse and momentum. So mo na siya tong ma-understand nganong ingon na siya. But if dili ka ganahan nga negative ang imong answer, then we're gonna have the distance, no? Kung ganahan ka nga distance ang mo express. So it's actually just the same man sad, diba? So here, just try to use what are the other formulas nga pwede na to magamit. Then we have this one. Pwede ta mo gamit sa S, no? So that is initial velocity times time minus 1/2 of the acceleration time square. So that is x na distance. No, we're finding impact velocity. So pwede ta mo gamit sa square, and then initial velocity square, then minus twice of the acceleration times the distance x. No? Namatay distance nga 11.199. So this is the final velocity square or square root na lang. No? So this one. So this is 16 square minus 2 times the 9.81 times 11.199. So the velocity is 16 squared minus 2 times 9.81 times 11.199. So as you can see, you have a positive answer here. So that's 6.02030 meter per second. So wala gi-indicate diri ang iyahang impact or ang iyahang sign because we're using distance. However, in this formula we're using the time, and then it's being influenced by the other velocity, which is b. So it's understood nga sakto imong answer nga negative dira. It's just that the direction is opposite to the initial. Okay? So here we now have the final velocities of ball A. Then we're gonna solve for ball B. So for ball B, still we're gonna use the same, this one, formula. Oops. And then it's going to be final velocity of B, and that's initial velocity of B. And then since this is moving downward, then it must be positive acceleration times the time. So this is VFB, and that's equal to 9 plus the acceleration of 9.81 times the time, which is unsa nga time, no? The time here is t minus 1, no? Okay, this is, we're talking about ball B man, no? So that's ball B. So that is 1.245. So VFB now is 9 times, 9 plus 9.81 times 1.245. So that's 21.2134. 213 meter per second. So as you can see, ang initial velocity sa ato ang B is 9, then ang iyang final nahimong 21, meaning ang iyang impact is nagkadako. However, for final velocity of A, gikan siya sa 16, then nahimo na lang siyang 6, meaning there is a decrease in velocity. Na tungod sa it go against with the gravity, mo nang ni-decrease siya. And if we're gonna use this formula, this one, then be observant, no? Okay, we will be using this subscript B and that one, and the x here is not x anymore, but, or the distance is not x anymore, but 30 minus x. So this is VFB, and this is equal to the square root of, so this one, square root of initial velocity of 9 square minus 2 times the 9.81 times 30 minus 11.199. And this is the final velocity. So that's 9 squared minus 2 times 9.81. No, why am I using minus? So this is plus. This one, plus. Okay, we're talking about the B velocity. Plus 2 times 9.81 times 30 minus 11.199. Is it 11.199? Yes. And the same, 21.21 meter per second. The same gihapon niyang answer. Okay, so that ends our example.